Hi, I'm Jordan with Jordan Plays Blue. This is my monthly roundup for February 2021. A couple days or maybe a week or so late doing this, it's just kind of how it's been going. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of fun stuff. If you guys haven't checked out my Jordan Quickly Reviews 4 Games with Other People, which is my new series on this channel, you should go check that out. I've done 2 episodes and I've just filmed episode 3 this week. The first 2 episodes, one was on Uwe Rosenberg with some friends of mine from the Dice Tower. Episode 2 was about, what did we do? Blue-Orange Games, and that was with Chris Goodlett from Charity Board Gamer, Chris Yee from the Dice Tower and Meeple Overboard, and Jonna from One Pip Wonder and the Dice Tower. Talked about some of our favorite games from Blue-Orange Games because they're one of my favorite publishers. And then we did one last week with some other friends about AEG, and I'll let that one speak for itself in a couple weeks when that goes up at the end of this month. And then I already have the next episode planned out, and I'm working on the episode after that, and I'm hoping to do them monthly. And you know, sometimes you might get a bonus one, but they'll usually go up at the end of each month, and then this one should be going up in the beginning of each month. That's kind of how I have things in my head scheduled. But then over on my Instagram, Jordan Plays Blue, same kind of schedule. I'm doing 2 reviews a week right now. And I started doing weekly-ish kind of chats on Instagram Live. If folks want to just pay attention to those. I don't have a set schedule for those. Just whenever I feel like it. I just did one like 5 minutes ago. I turned it off and then plugged my phone in over here so I could film this instead. And I think that's it. I don't know. I feel like I'm doing a lot, but maybe I'm not. It's fine. Thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. I hope I can entertain you and give you something fun to listen to while you fold laundry or do the dishes or drive to work. That's when I listen to board game videos. So just keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road, and let's talk about some board games. All right? So usually I start out talking about games that I'm not going to be keeping, and I'm going to skip that this time because, well, I didn't really have any like really clunkers that I talked about this month. So let's just talk about the good ones. All right? Let's go. All right, so we're going to start smallest to biggest-ish. That's kind of how the pile is. So this one is Rosetta, The Lost Language. I did a review of this one earlier in the month. This one is a deduction game, a more logical deduction game, not social deduction, logical deduction, where you're trying to figure out a word that somebody has identified. It is almost like a Codenames type game where you guys are working together to try to come up with what this word is, but instead of, but the way to do it is you are like using these rune-shaped symbols that are representing something, and you have to draw them. Super weird. Like the concept of it, when I read the rules, I like talked to a friend of mine, and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work. Like this does not feel like a game that should work. And it really did, and I think we played it like 4 or 5 times in one night, and we beat it every single time. And it didn't feel like we should have. So it was a really interesting. I don't usually like games that are kind of a social experiment type of game, but this one definitely falls in that, and it really surprisingly worked. So that was a lot of fun. That's Rosetta, The Lost Language from Story Machine Games. I'm not sure if this is like in stores or, but I bet it's on Amazon or on their website. But that's Story Machine Games. If you're into weird kind of party deduction kind of games, check this one out. It was weird, but good. You know, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. This next one was really cool. I borrowed this one from a friend of mine. This is a small box, but kind of a bigger game than I typically have been playing recently. But I really do enjoy kind of medium weight Euro style games like resource management, that kind of thing. And this one falls under that. This is the Red Cathedral. This is, there's a lot of games like Castles of Burgundy or Pillars of the Earth, or like those games where you're like building like old castles or old churches in Europe or whatever. This one has that kind of same thing, only it's in Russia, so it's a little different, and it has a little bit of a different vibe to how the artwork looks. And I really do appreciate that. But it comes in this small box, but this is like a full, like this is a brick. Like this is a heavy, thick box that is like chock full of stuff. There is no, like if I were to open the box here, I don't want to spill, but like there's no room to breathe in there. And so in this game, you're going to have a rondelle or a wheel, an action wheel in the middle of the board, and you're going to be moving these dice around the number of spaces based off the pips on the dice. And you're going to collect resources based off of where you land, and then you're going to spend those resources to, build parts of this cathedral, decorate parts of this cathedral, and you're going to be scoring points at the end of the game based off of what you have built and what you've kind of decorated on this cathedral and how much work you've done on the cathedral. It worked super well. It was a really cool game. I really enjoyed Red Cathedral. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it's the type of game I haven't been playing recently, and it was a nice kind of reminder, like, oh yeah, I really do like these games. So yeah, that's Red Cathedral. I don't think it's been getting a ton of love recently. I think it has a different kind of look to it, but also the boring is the box. The box does look a little boring, but it's really good. It's a really good game. If you're into kind of medium weight Euro style games where you're collecting resources and building stuff and manipulating your own little action board where you can upgrade your actions to make them more efficient and get more stuff on certain turns that you're using certain colored dice and moving things a little further, and really cool. A lot of stuff in here. There's a little, with these kind of games, there's some barrier of entry to get through it all, but a lot of fun. That is Red Cathedral. I definitely recommend that one. This is one of May's new favorite games. This is Via Magica. I played this one a lot with May over the last month. This one is a re-theme of Rise of Augustus? Rise of Augustus, which was a big box game, which didn't need to be. This is a much smaller. This is almost like a Lost City size. Is it Lost City size? Yeah, Lost City size box. This one has it's a magic school theme, which is whatever. But it has cool artwork. The cards have cool art on them. I'll just put it up on the screen. But in it, it's kind of a bingo mechanic. You're going to pull these chips from a bag, and they're going to be different colors, and those colors correspond with different needs of your cards. And once you fill up all of the the slots on a card, you've completed that card, and you get some bonuses and get some points. Really simple, a lot of luck. This game has a ton of luck, a lot of randomness. If that is not your jam, skip this one, because it's not, you're not going to enjoy that. Some of the cards seem a little weird that, they give you the same benefit, but some cards are but they're harder to get sometimes. There is some synergy between the cards, but again, there's a lot of randomness to it. May really enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it with her, so I'm not going to badmouth the game too much. It was enjoyable, but there's a lot of luck to it, so everybody needs to know that. This is another one that surprised me. I have not reviewed this one. I'll be reviewing it soon, but this is Noctiluca. Noctiluca. This is a dice rolling game from, I guess a dice drafting game, something like that, from Z-Man Games. And in it, you are going to have, it feels very abstract, but it has a theme, so I'm not going to call it an abstract game. But it has a board. You feed dice all over the board, place dice all over the board that have different numbers and colors on them. But the board has concentric circles on it, and it's split into different sections, and you can make lines based off of the spaces within those circles. And so you place a pawn on the edge of the board, and then you take all of the dice in a line that are the same number. So I'll say ones, and I take all of the 1 dice in this row, or my next turn I'm going to go this direction, I'll take all the 5 dice, something like that. And then I'm going to take those dice, just like in Via Magica, where you're filling these objective cards to score points. And so this card might need 2 blues and 3 greens, and this one might need 2 purples, a green, and a blue. And so as I'm taking these dice, I want to put them on my cards, but any dice I don't take, I pass to the next player. So you don't necessarily want the most dice every turn. you want the right dice. So there's a lot to think about in this one. You're constantly kind of thinking, okay, if I go here, I get those dice, but I can't use all of those. But if I go here, I'm not getting that dice that I really want. And you're lots of thinkiness to it. I mean, it's only like a 30-minute game, but there's a lot to wrap your head around, and I really enjoyed it. It's really good. I think I'm going to give it a really good review. It's really good. It's one of those games that are just like this. It feels like a game that was like made for me. It really does. Yeah, that's Noctiluca, designed by Shem Phillips, who did the Raiders or the North Sea trilogy and the West Kingdom trilogy. And this one is nothing like any of those, but it's so good. Really cool game. I definitely recommend Noctiluca. And then one more game. Ready? So this is another game that I recently reviewed. And this one is Dream Runners. And this one I'm talking about last because it does, it's different than, I probably like it less than these other games, but it isn't bad. It's just not quite as good. It just didn't grab us as much. It's a weird kind of game where it feels very unique, where you're, there's an older game that my wife and I play a lot. I don't think it's down here, called Mondo. Mondo is a speed tile laying game where you're timed and you're trying to build this landscape of tiles with animals on them. And this game is sort of timed, but you're playing Tetris pieces and you're trying to get them in a 3x3 grid in order to match what this dreamscape is. And depending on how you place them, you're going to take different actions, warding off nightmares, collecting different coins and keys and things like that. The theming and art is really kind of out there, which makes sense for like a dream kind of game. But I don't know, it's weird. It was fun. Like, we really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's a game that we'd feel like we're going to take out a whole lot. But we might come back to it. I think it's a good game, and it's really unique, and it might be something that we want to come back to. So I'm not getting rid of it. I'm going to hang on to it for a bit because you never know. I might want to play it coming up. But yeah, that was Dream Runners. It was interesting. It was an interesting game. I think I liked it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to come back to it. But yeah, that's Dream Runners. All right, so my game of the month, I think I'm going to give it to Red Cathedral, honestly. And that is mostly because of just how well the game came together. There are so many different mechanisms in it. It's got the rondelle, it's got the dice placement, it has the dice movement, I suppose. It's got the resource management, it has some city building elements to it. It's got the upgrading of your actions. It's got some efficiency puzzle kind of things. Really cool, and it all comes together in this little box that has so much in it, and it's a really interesting game, and I want it to get more love. So I'm going to say this is my game of the month because I really did enjoy it, and it was super good. Noctiluca is probably a close, it's like a 1B or 1A 0.2. They're both really good, but I'm going to give it to Red Cathedral because this one is super good. So yeah, so that's my roundup. I hope everybody enjoyed doing whatever you were doing while you were watching this, and come back later in the month for my next Jordan Quickly Reviews for Games with Other People, where we talk about AEG games. And I think that's it. And then next month I'll do this whole thing all over again. Make sure you're following me on Instagram and TikTok. Sometimes I do things on TikTok. I had a post go viral recently, which was a lot of fun. And it wasn't about board games though, so that's just how that goes. But yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.